Let's face it, many of us love emulating the gear setups of pro bike riders, and I'm guilty of it too. After all, if it helps them ride faster, it must work for us too, right? Well, in this video, we are diving into some of the top tech trends from this year's Tour de France that you should definitely consider copying. From £1,000 Aero socks, I kid you not, to wide tyres and much more. But let's start with Tadej Pogacar's game-changing wheels. Tadej Pogacar actually used the same Envy SES 4.5 deep dish wheels for the entire Tour de France. This is fascinating because it used to be a norm to swap from deep dish wheels on flat stages for more aerodynamics to lighter, shallower wheels to save some weight in the mountains and on the climbs. Some riders, like Jonas Vingegaard, still do this. However, Tadej demonstrated that he really values aerodynamic benefits more than saving a couple hundred grams. And it's partly helped by the fact they're climbing so damn fast and breaking records left, right and centre that the aero benefits definitely outweigh the weight disadvantage of a deeper section wheel. So if you want to ride fast, go deep. This really highlights that aerodynamics are now a bigger focus than weight at the Tour de France. According to Bike Radar, Tadej Pogacar's Carnago V4 RS weighs 7.27 kilograms, while Jonas Vingegaard and Remco Evenepoel have the lightest bikes at 6.7 and 6.8 kilograms respectively. Mark Cavendish, on the other hand, rode a 7.6 kilogram aerodynamic Villaflante SLR, even on the stages where he's struggling to keep within the time limit on the big mountains. It is kind of crazy that the bikes are so heavy and so much higher than the 6.8 kilogram weight limit, the minimum weight limit imposed by UCI. So why are riders riding heavier bikes? It seems they know weight doesn't actually make a big difference and aerodynamics are more important than hitting that UCI weight limit. So the takeaway here is to not worry too much about weight. Instead, save the money you spend on that crazy expensive carbon fiber saddle that weighs 100 grams or less, and just ride your bike at its current weight, but do buy a narrow handlebar because aero clearly matters more than weight. And if you really want to emulate the pros and go aerodynamic, you need a skin suit and aero socks. Skin suits have come a long way in the last few years and are now more usable for long stages of the race. We see most of the pros riding the entire race in a skin suit. They now offer pockets for carrying gels and food, good comfort, and the best ones have special fabrics to manage airflow around the shoulders and arms, making the body, which makes up about 80% of the drag on a bike, even more slippery through the air. They do make stopping for a toilet break a bit trickier, but if you want to go fast, maybe just hold it in. Then there are aero socks, which might look a bit daft in my opinion, but nearly all the pros use them. And loads of companies now make them, and there's loads of choice out there in the market, and there's ongoing innovation to save more watts in this area, from trick lines to indentation in the fabric. But a word of warning, they can be extremely expensive. The ones that Mark Cavendish is wearing, £1,000 a pair. I kid you not. That's a lot of money to save a few watts. But if it helps you go faster, what price for more speed? Along with aero socks, another growing trend are aero shoe covers. Cavendish has sleeves over the dials on his Nike shoes, which makes sense because the dials can't be very aero, so smoothing them makes more sense than leaving them exposed. And there is some aero wind tunnel testing out there that shows that dials are not very aero. And we often see in time trials that riders do use a aero shoe cover. So bring that time trial technology of aero shoe covers to road stages does seem to be more popular. Should you buy an aero or lightweight bike? This dilemma mirrors the one pros used to face, but the days of switching between different bike models depending on the stages, where it's flat or hilly, seems to be over. Many riders, like Tour winner Tadej Pogacar, stuck to the same bike for the entire race. Only Jonas Vingegaard was one of the exceptions at the top level of the GC race, switching between an Aero Cervelo S5 for flatter stages and a lightweight Cervelo R5 for hillier stages. Observing the race though, nearly all riders appear to use the same model of bike throughout the race. And because most bikes are now aero optimized, from pure aero race bikes like the Canyon Aero that Mathieu van der Poel rode for the entire race, to aero lightweight all-rounders like Remco's Specialized Tarmac SL8, And with aero bikes like the Canyon Aero and the Giant Propel reaching the weight of formerly lightweight bikes and easily sub 7 kilos, it seems that most riders are opting for either a pure aero bike or a lightweight aero all-rounder like the Tarmac or the new Trek Madone SLR. Another example is the fact that Mark Cavendish rode the same 7.6 kilogram Velia Volante SLR aero bike for the entire race. And he could have gone to a new Velia Verticale SLR, which is much lighter for the mountain stages, and saved himself probably almost half a kilo. But for some reason, he rode the same aero bike on those stages and didn't go for the lightweight bike, which shows how most riders are now happy to do the entire race on one bike, and more often than not, an aero optimized bike. So the choice seemed clear: buy an aero bike. And you can see some of the best aero bikes are reviewed here on Just Ride Bikes by clicking the pop-out banner at the top of the screen right now. One of the reasons for the surprisingly high weight of some race bikes at the Tour de France is that nearly all riders are now running 28mm wide tyres, a far cry from the days of 23mm wide tyres. How things have changed. That's because wider tyres are faster and improved rolling resistance and grip levels are contributing to the high speeds we see in races these days. Most riders have also embraced tubeless as well, which helps reduce the risk of punctures. And I've no data, but watching the race, there weren't a lot of punctures to speak of. Even during that tough gravel stage, there weren't a lot of flat tyres at all. And if you have any fears about hookless rims, which are a hot topic these days, remember that Tadej Pogačar rode the entire race and won the Tour de France on hookless wheels. So if you're not on wide tyres yet, you're giving away free easy speed. So an easy upgrade to wide tyres if your bike takes them. As the pros do, good enough for them, it's good enough for us. There's been a lot of hype and buzz around one buy on road bikes for quite a few years now, since the Aqua Blue Sport experiment a few years ago. Despite improved technology though, most of the peloton still use 2x setups. However, somewhat under the radar, Jonas Vingegaard was rocking a 1x SRAM drivetrain for several stages of the race, and not just on the flat stages where you might expect it, but on big mountain stages as well. The fact that one bike can work on such tough stages is thanks to the latest 12-speed group set and SRAM's wide range cassette, 1036 being a common setup, which makes it easy to replicate 2x gearing with a single chainring. But of the top riders in the Tour de France, Jonas seems to be the outlier and the only rider dabbling with 1x. And according to SRAM, when I asked them, it's a rider and team's own choice with no pressure from the company, in their words, not mine. Their new red group set is, after all, a 2x focused setup. So maybe 1x isn't one to copy just yet. After all, he didn't go any faster with fewer chainrings, but it doesn't seem likely that 1x will become the norm in the same way disc brakes have, at least not anytime soon. Water bottles have been around for as long as anybody can remember, but on time trial bikes, they are aerodynamic to reduce drag, and we are seeing more riders using these aero bottles on road stages. Mark Cavendish is a fan. He used aero bottles in his pursuit of low drag to win the 35th stage of the Tour de France. An entire Trek Lidl team are using them on a brand new Trek Madone SLR. And Trek says those air bottles do save a few watts over a round bottle. And we also saw the Super 6 Evo from Cannondale last year introduce new aero bottles and cages. So if the claims are to be believed, they can save you quite a few watts very easily and more cheaply than most upgrades in this video. Racing speeds are higher than ever before, and riders have been upsizing their chainrings. These days, 54, 55, and even 56 chainrings are not uncommon on flat stages. But they're also upsizing their cassettes as well. The 1130 has been fairly standard on 11-speed and 12-speed bikes for the last few years, a far cry from the days of 1125 and smaller. And some riders are using even bigger cassettes, 1134 in fact, the biggest option offered in the Shimano Dura-Race Di2 group set range. I can't quite believe you can buy a Dura-Race group set with an 1134 cassette, which used to be a sportive focused option a few years ago. So if you want to really emulate the pros and go fast or look fast, you need bigger chainrings on your bike, provided you can pedal fast and hard enough to turn them. But don't forget to also supersize your cassette as well. So which of these tech trends are you going to copy to go faster? For me, I think it's deep dish wheels and narrow handlebar, but I might have to try a skin seat and Aero sulk just to see how much faster I can go with such a setup. Let me know what I've missed by leaving a comment down below, and if you see some tech trends I don't suggest you copy from the pros, watch this video right here. And of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button right here. But that's all today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.